And we're back. This is Manifesting with Meg, conversations with extraordinary people. And today, I hope you all tune in because I have one of my favorite guests. Happy to say she's a repeat offender. She is Berta Medina of Dreamers Succeed. And I'm a huge fan because this is kind of like a gift to myself many times. This is my episode 110. I love the theme today. There's always hope for positive change. So, anyone out there who needs a hit of inspiration or a bit of magic, join us today because definitely Berta is going to give you that for sure. And without further ado, I want to remind everybody that April is the month of transforming dreams into reality. One of my favorite, by the way, because I always say magic happens in April, and it's because our angels are working overtime for us to make it happen. So keep paying attention, and you never know what's going to happen. This is my year of empowered through purpose, and I hope you all find your purpose to empower you on, move you forward. This is a show about transformation, dreams, inspiration, true happiness, and discovering bliss. We're just a conversation away from extraordinary. Time to wake up to a universe packed with possibility. Berta, I love that you are 110, and I always say, what's the magic around 110? I know there's there's a 1 and a 1 involved here, so I know that the open gates of 11 are certainly on our way for sure. But let's set our intention with the magical guide to bliss. Pick a number that will correspond for that intention, and we'll find the synchronicity at the end of our show. So before I go on and let you dazzle them, which you always definitely do, I want to give everyone a brief intro into who you are, if they don't know you already. Berta Medina-Garcia is a rare breed of speaker and coach by infusing classic coaching with a healthy dose of discovery and adventure with her specialized trademark of comfort zone coaching. She's revolutionized the path to growth and change for individuals and team members of great organizations at the forefront of making a positive impact on this world, which we all definitely need more of. After years of building, operationing, and growing her own successful business, she's taken her experience and love for philanthropy to travel to Africa, which she's about to do soon in the beginning of May, on a harrowing climb to Mount Kilimanjaro's peak. That's before she's going now to Kenya, so there's even more fun to be had. She went as a part of a mission trip to change the world for Maasai children. The mission trip was everything she dreamed it would be, and more. It transformed her perspective and offered equal doses of service, adventure, and fulfillment. And what she offers her clients is much of the same. The perspective shift in the way they view themselves, in the way they view their organizations, in focusing they place on their corporate culture, and in bringing out the best in all levels of team. This is her years of business savvy coming together. She's got an adventurous streak. She's a lot of fun. And without further ado, I just want to share Berta once again with you. So how are you, my friend? Welcome to Manifesting Again.
Blessed and highly favored girl. It's so good to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. And I like I said, I think it's become 3 times in a row now in April that we have this little, wonderful interaction. And I will say this, it's so great to have you here, but there's lots to celebrate for me because, at the beginning, I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do this. And now I have a Webby. I'm an honoree for the Webby Awards this year. So exciting. And, I love to continue this season 6 with you and the inspiration that you bring, because I know a lot of people out there could definitely use it, myself included. So back to your magic. What is it that you want to start off with today? I'm going to let you bring it.
I'm gonna start off with a huge congratulations, Meg. The fact that I've had a front row seat to your journey for all these years has been totally inspiring, totally moving. It's just been confirmation that when we're in alignment and we're doing what we know God put us here to do, things are going to happen. And I know the Webby is just the latest one in a long line of amazing accomplishments and awards for your books. And I'm just tickled, girl. And I love that I see you shining for others and everything that you're doing to bring out the best in us. And girl, I don't even know how you energize your bunny through this, but I just love you and wanted to mention that.
Thank you. You always, I'm in the art of receiving now, a book that you did give to me. So I'm learning how to receive a lot more. And I think a lot of people out there who are givers, big time givers like Berta, certainly need to be in that receiving mode as well. It's that wonderful karmic circle. I went to see Taylor Swift and she wrote a song called Karma. And I swear I've been singing it in my head this whole time. It's like what you put out in the world. Don't worry if you think that other people may be like, doing this, doing that. It's what your path, how you are showing up. And certainly at the end of the day, it is what you bring to the table for sure. And that karma will find you, that
Yeah.
wonderful, good, bad, indifferent, maybe, you don't know. But I love the theme today, and I want to start there because I think that it's really kind of amazing. Like I said, my two favorite months are April and December, certainly.
Mhm.
Transforming dreams into reality, and since your dreamers succeed, how perfect and appropriate that all is. There's always hope for positive change, and I think anyone out there listening today to that message, and they don't feel like their life is going in the direction of their dreams, let's say, and they feel
Mhm.
struggling and they're like blocks here and there and everywhere. I think that it's a really important message to hear that, you can always do the shift. You could always do the, okay, here we are. Let's see what's next.
Mhm.
And the quote is from The Secret, Rhonda Burns. She says, there's no such thing as a hopeless situation. Every single circumstance of life can change. That's Rhonda Burns, author of The
Mhm.
Secret. And like I said, oh boy, I needed to hear that today because I mean, we all, even though we succeed, we show up, we accomplish
Mhm.
much. We all are human beings, and we all hit walls and we burn out. And you have to really like sit back and think, okay, instead of just being turned off and like give up, which I never advocate for the give up, maybe take a moment to sit
Mhm.
and really be congratulations to yourself, grateful for those things that you've done so that you can celebrate what you've done and actually take that moment to do so before you move forward in a different direction, or perhaps in the same direction but with more verve and energy. Leaving the critique alone aside. And the insight goes like if you're in a rut, do not despair, because at many times, keep placing that one foot in front of the other as you go through it. You'll face whatever life presents to you, but don't forget that wonderful, mountain of wisdom that you've gained up until this point. You face,
Mhm.
with the need to breathe. You do things that uplift you and spark your interest. And then also have interviews with Berta Medina and let me know your thoughts on that. Certainly, you are not a stranger to, the mountains for sure.
Mhm. Mhm. That's right. That's right. And I love the way you put it, Meg, because I think a big part of, we're sort of raised and society has programmed us to keep score, right?
Mm,
And you said it, we're human beings.
yeah.
And somewhere along the line, we got stuck in being human doings. And
Yeah.
then we're trying to keep up. We get distracted by shiny objects and we think, well, if this person is doing it this way, we have to do it this way. And it really is all about just going inside. When we remove the need for external gratification, validation, whatever you want to call it, and you find that inner joy, everything
Yeah,
changes.
I agree.
And you mentioned, gratitude. I think one of the fastest paths to happiness, right, is gratitude. And even if you have to get used to it by doing a gratitude journal and doing the steps, I think it's just coming inside. And you mentioned the don't give up, but listen, the pauses are necessary.
Yeah, for sure. The
I've been
pauses are necessary. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I've been in a long pause, okay, but it's been really really good for me, and I've been able to go inside and find that independent happiness, right? That is not subject to the external. Sure, the external can add to the happiness, but it's never going to take away if things are not going the way that society deems necessary that they go. So I think you hit on a really really good point there, Meg, of just you know breathing and accepting and loving our life and being in alignment. If we're in alignment, everything else is going to fall into place.
Isn't
But
that fantastic that what you just said is when we're in alignment? And but the thing is, I think a lot of people struggle to get in alignment, perhaps by virtue of the fact that they're looking at someone else and they're like, how can I get there? Like you get disturbed, you get frustrated or even the shame spiral, God help us, we've all been in that in this particular rendition of life. I think that, that's the alignment is what we strive for, and that vibrational alignment to all that, you know, we desire and we want, and what makes us feel good. Because it really is, go back to the secret. The whole idea is, how do you feel? What makes you feel alive? Go there. And not everyone has the same feel. Like for you, you won't find me climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. That's never going to happen. But and the reality is that we all feel alive based upon our own, like you said, going within and recognizing what that is. You're a manifester, big time. I mean, big time. You help yourself, and you've helped so many others come to life to their dreams, and to actually focus on their dreams and bringing them out of other people. And I only feels right to ask you at this point in your life, and since you said you've been in the pause a bit, what is the mission that you find calling to you rather than you chasing?
Oh, I love that question. And I think that's what it is, Meg. And I'm, 55, almost 56, right? So I'm an older lady, and things are different now, right? But at the same time, I realized that, and I've always stuck to the why, right? Kilimanjaro wasn't about climbing Kilimanjaro. It was about what it was going to do for Sipao. And everything connects to that why. So I think for me right now, professionally, if you want to call it that, it's just this mission of really reconnecting with who I've always been. I love to serve and bring out the dreams of coaches and speakers. Yeah. And I've had to come back to me, because I realized that the biggest impact is in doing what you love and in being in alignment. And if you're making that impact, and you can work with people, and I've had the blessing of working with amazing people, either on the corporate side or coaches and speakers that have just completely transformed their lives, has nothing to do with me. I might be in their corner in the ring, but they're in the ring by themselves.
They're aligned to the fact that their vibration matches yours, and that they're a point in time where they're like, they're asking that ask,
right.
And since you're aligned to the why, refocusing on what their why is, I think certainly is something that brings you in alignment to your clients for sure. One of the things I wanted to know with regard to this whole wonderful, fantastic journey that we all go through, and we all fall through or climb through, and never letting it get down through, all the throughs, what exactly is your next empowered purpose this year?
So my next empowerment, and I'm working on a really, really great project. I just went on a mission trip earlier this year to South Africa. I had never been to South Africa. I had a wonderful time with Lydia's mission, and we've been able to put together an empowerment series where I'm going to be taking people on a mission trip so that they can have hands-on everything that I've been preaching and teaching for the last decade, right? In coaching, that the importance of that vision. How do you create the plan? How do you bring it into action and have the accountability? And then at the far end of it, how do you make it sustainable? And this organization that is doing beautiful work in Imanzana, South Africa, has been able to encapsulate in 10 days what I try to help people understand, so that it'll be a very hands-on way to be able to bring people. The impact is huge because it's mission, and it's very hands-on. And Mitch Hildebrand, who's amazing, he's an amazing pastor and an amazing coach and life coach and brother. We're doing that together. So it's really shifted my focus. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and she said, you're a coach on a mission, right? And I said, yes, totally on a mission to be able to bring, because we can make a greater impact if I'm helping coaches succeed and bring out the best in others. I'm not just impacting that coach, I'm impacting everybody that they touch. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then everything just gets really magical and big. And again, the focus has to be impact, in my opinion, because that's why we're here. And my mission is to leave it better than it was when I got here. I know that I've already done that with my kids. I'm leaving 2 amazing humans behind. And then Jocelyn goes and has, another human. And it's just really, really been a trip to see how that comes to fruition, how, you know, past clients who have become friends and who have mission tripped with me have really been able to take what they have done. Like I said, nothing to do with me. It was them having the courage, you know, fighting the doubts and the fears, and being able to create a business or a coaching practice that is just making a huge impact out there.
I want to touch upon, you know, it's funny because a lot of times, you know, we get so wrapped up in our own insecurities that, you know, we lose sight on what you're doing, which is huge. Like, the thing that keeps coming to mind is as you're talking, it's like, you know, Mother Teresa didn't worry about her thighs. She did the work, right? But I think we have to go back to the reality that, you know, we are, like, once again, we are human beings, you know. The
Mhm.
reality is that we all show up, you know, with our insecurities, with our fears, with all of the above. And you're traveling to South Africa, you know, you're going to, you know, Kenya, you're doing all these things that for some people, there might just someone said, come to South Africa, you just stare in the mirror. And you're just like, you're going to stay, you know, I can't move. I'm like, you know, paralysis, you know, they say analysis by
Yeah.
paralysis. So I guess
Yeah.
the question that I'm coming to the table with right now is, you're where you are and you're on this mission, and it's an amazing mission, and you're going to help a lot of wonderful people, and you are going to level up your energy too because of that. What, you know, that's not where you've always been. Like, and I think it's really important for everyone to hear, you know, because, you know, it's never, there's always hope for positive change. And it's
Mhm.
always find yourself where you are. Like, where do you stand at this moment? Okay. Like, I have to say, I just went to Italy, and I went to Como in Italy, and you know, in March, and I hadn't traveled in quite some time, even outside the country. So I had to, like, Meg, you've done this before. You can do this again. You're excited about
Mhm.
this. Something, you know, and I had to pay attention to little signs to, like, allay my fears. But how about for you? Because, you know, I do love this part because it's what inspires you to do what you do. But
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about you getting to where you are right now, and the process. And hey, to Leslie, she's here. I love that you're joining us. Hey.
Awesome.
But I love this quote to start off with. She was not fragile like a flower. She was fragile like a bomb. Okay, let's start there and pivot off the question I just asked you. How have you come so far in your life facing your fears?
And I love that you put it that way, Meg. I think I haven't come as far as I know I still have to go, which is good because it keep, you know, I say I have 45 good years left on this planet. I better make them fun, because I want to be able to skydive at 100. But you know, if I went today, I go happy,
Yeah.
right? Because I lived 2 lifetimes. So I think for me it was, especially growing up, and you know, and Cuban Catholic, right? We're raised on guilt and café con leche. So it's like, that's it, girl. You have your kids, you raise your family, you tend to your husband, you know, you take care of the moms because that's what we do.
Yep.
And I did that. And then, you know, God just planted the seed of going on this first mission trip. I had already started my own company. I had the title company. The kids had graduated. Jocelyn was off and married. And it was just like this yearning of no questions asked. It was like God planted the seed. I was open, I was in flow, and I just said it out loud. I was like, hey, I'm going to Africa and I'm going to sponsor this little boy and I'm going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro and I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks. And the moment that I said it out loud, and I said this to my super conservative husband, and he's looking at me like, are you high? And I'm like, and by the way, I need $2,000 to put a
Yeah.
deposit on this trip,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, and the moment that I said it out loud and nobody died, I was like, holy crap, this can. And you do the first one, and then you do the
Mhm.
next one. I'll be heading out in 2 weeks on my seventh mission trip.
Wow.
And I promised the kids, once I met Sibao and then sponsored another 6 in Kenya and in Ethiopia, I promised that I would be back every couple of years because I
Oh,
want the kids to know that they are so important to me that I will travel. I want to keep tabs on how they're doing. I want to hug them and hug their families. So it just became I said it out loud. And I think what happens, Megan, I think that's one of the things, you know, a lot of people knock social media. One of the things about social media that I love is that it provides the accountability. You
ah,
know, put
yes.
it right. I
Yeah.
put it out there, and listen, I'm gonna have egg on my face if I don't do this.
It's true.
And you know what, it just kept sort of spiraling, and then the expectation for me became, how am I showing up in this world, not because of what people thought or
Mhm.
not because of how it looked, just how am I showing up in this world. Like the most important thing for me is, what is Chloe going to say about me when she meets somebody new, right?
Yeah.
And not because I want her to brag about me, because they'll never tell you to your face, but I love hearing the way she talks about me behind my back.
Yeah.
And that to me is a big deal, because she's not going to listen, just like my kids didn't listen to me telling them what to do. But they followed what I was doing,
Yeah. It's
and,
true.
it shows up. So I think for me it just became sort of and my grandmother was a very, very strong influence in my life, even though I lost her when I was 17. But I know that given the chance, my grandmother would have done all of this,
Yeah.
you
Wow.
know and then I think, is she watching this? I know she's probably freaking out, but I know she knows I'm going to be okay. What would she think of this? And it's just created this whole um, sort of synergy of raising my own vibration, not because of anybody who's looking, not because of what they're saying, not because of what people are thinking, either criticizing or applauding. It doesn't matter. This is between me and God, and I'm going to do it. If he's going to breathe life into that dream or that vision, there's a reason. He would
Yeah.
never tease me and plant the seed of a dream in my heart that he didn't already know I was able to accomplish.
So what's with this? She was not fragile like a flower. She was fragile like a bomb,
Yeah.
by the way. And
Yeah.
to Leslie's point, Jews get guilt too. Yeah, Italians too. I think we all like have the corner
Yeah.
on all of that. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, tell me a little bit about why you picked this quote for your
Yeah,
inspiration.
and I love that, because I think, especially the way I grew up, right? It wasn't easy, even though I wouldn't trade my childhood for anything in the world. I was fatherless, or absent fathered. I know who he was. He just went back to Cuba when my mother was 5 months pregnant. And then my mom was a single mom, a hug single mom. We always had a lot of family. I grew up in a home with cousins and grandparents, and a very rich, three-generation home. So there's a lot of this idea of fragility in someone who grows up broken, right?
Wow.
And I took ownership of that, for a long time. Never from a victim perspective,
I
but
love that.
just from a, how dare I deserve to have this life when I'm supposed to be broken. Society says I'm supposed to be broken. We grew up, not dirt poor, but not rich by any stretch of the imagination, not even middle class. And um, and then I thought, that fragility is always going to be there for all of us. I get to be fragile like a bomb,
Oh, I love
not fragile like a flower. So when I
it.
saw that, and actually a few people that I in my life, that sort of triggered the thought of them in my mind, and I was like, you know what? That's I like that.
I like
I
it.
like, yeah, yeah,
And interestingly enough, you keep mentioning broken. I just read a book where they pointed out this Zen Buddhist ancient Japanese art of using precious metals such as gold to bond pieces together called kintsugi.
yeah,
You've heard of it, right?
yeah.
And
I have.
I just saw someone from Ukraine give a presentation at the World Happiness Conference, and she basically took her veins and she drew gold on her vein, like just the blood. So just
Oh,
because we're pumping blood through, that's the opportunity to be broken, right? Then she was,
yeah,
but it became this beautiful masterpiece of her,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's when I see that she was fragile like a bomb. That is, exactly like
Hmm.
you are going to break, and
Yeah,
you're going to also come back stronger, which I
yeah,
love this. Oh my God.
yeah,
And
yeah.
to your point, as well, I love the fact that you've taken your story and you've made it into the warrior, the hero's journey, because
Mhm.
we stay in that narrative, right? Whatever that narrative is, until we decide that we get to choose the narrative that we want to be a part of. And I, certainly your life is that for sure. It's like, well, I've chosen you to be with me, but if you don't want to stay on the same path, then it's time to move on and let's discover where we're going. And
Yeah,
that takes us to this. Okay, of course, Alice in Wonderland. The secret, Alice, is to surround yourself with people who make your heart smile. It's then, only then, that you'll find Wonderland. And okay, you and I are of the same mind. Well, this will be our superpower till the end of the day, is right? Is
Mhm.
the connections and the people that we choose to bring into our lives, and then some of the time the ones that we choose to let out of our lives, but always with the idea that it's this big-eyed wonder that we face life. So tell me what this means to you.
I love this one, Meg. First of all, I'm a huge fan of so many of the lessons
Yes.
in Alice in Wonderland and in those stories and in the Looking Glass. Just love everything about it. And I think what happens, Meg, is that, and we talk about this all the time, and we see it. People say, your tribe attracts your vibe, or your vibe attracts your tribe, whatever. I am huge on making sure that I am surrounding myself with people that set my soul on fire.
Mm,
Okay. And I want to be that for the people that are around me.
yeah.
And sometimes it gets hard when you're in your 50s and you have to start setting boundaries,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
Because it feels so uncomfortable and there's so much guilt around it. But you know what? It's self-protective. And I cannot be who I want to be to my children, to my granddaughter, to my clients, to my friends, to even my ex-husband, if I am not good with me. So there are a lot of days when I spend a lot of time alone, and people are like, "I'm so worried that you're lonely." And I'm like, dude, lonely and alone are not the same thing. I
No.
have never felt lonely when I've been alone. I'm a really good companion to myself. So I think that one of the things that happens is, as we mature and as we age and as we get into alignment with who we're going to be, our soul begins to raise certain red flags about, hey, listen,
Mm,
you've been on the giving end of this relationship for your entire life. Try to see if some of that is going to be reciprocated.
mm.
And when it's not, it's like, I love you. And I posted something today that said, I don't remember the question, but the answer is love. The answer is always love.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And you don't have to, doesn't mean you stop loving anyone, but you can love them from a distance and not feel guilty about it, because it's self-protective. It's what you need right now, and it's okay. So I really love that, because I'm huge. In fact, I had a conversation with my baby daddy. I can't call him my ex-husband. I'm just not used to it. And we have a great relationship. We get along great. And I was telling him the other day, I said, I'm not your mother and I'm not your wife anymore, but I need you to please be aware of who you're spending your time with now. You know,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't, scolding him or anything. I just want him to be good, and I want him to be happy, and I want him, just to be mindful of that space, because when you're there watching, standing guard, right,
Yeah.
it's all built in. So I think that's one of the biggest things. And you know how our parents used to tell us, tell me who you hang around with and I'll tell you who you are. And I would be like, come on. And you know what?
It's true. Well, I always like to point out that most of the people that I find in my alignment, right, in that energy
Mhm.
place that I really kind of get excited are the ones that make my heart smile, and the looking
Mhm.
forward to being with them and looking forward to the conversations and what those conversations will elicit. It's so exciting. And back
Yeah.
to the point what you're talking about is that, I mean, but the consciousness, right? You have to be really truly conscious of who walks in and who
Yeah.
you allow in. Really, is that
Mhm.
beautiful art
Mhm.
of receiving too. You can
Yeah.
receive crap too, you can receive
Yes.
lots of it,
Yes.
but
Absolutely.
at the end of the
Absolutely.
day, I love everything that you've said, and especially people who are around your children. And I understand that your
Yeah.
baby's daddy, clearly is. And I think at
Mhm.
the end of the day, you have to, before you put your head down at night, you do your maybe your gratitude roll, or whatever that
Mhm.
is, if you're conscious, when we have
Yeah.
that reminder, and it comes down to, okay, what, like, the good, the bad, the ugly, and then, yes, thank
Mhm.
you, and then move on. So it come
Yeah.
and I love it. Okay, when someone says you can't do it, Do it twice and take pictures. Okay, this is so you. I have to tell you all, she gave me like 6 quotes, and I was like, I could put them all in there, but I know that the two of us talk forever, and certainly there's so much, like I said, wisdom and lots of information there that a lot of people could take away and like, oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. But this, oh my God, this is why we are aligned, Berta, because don't you tell me I can't do what I want to do, right?
Yeah.
Do it twice and take pictures. Go for it, my friend. Tell us a little bit about this one.
I love this one. This is, and this again is it's coming from, I think, when you grow up a certain way, or there's a certain belief about you out there, or your label or whatever it is. It's like, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
What is happening right now? And it's like, listen, I'm not doing it for you, but just hold my café con leche, right?
Oh my café con leche. I love it. Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, Meg, that I say to people: don't do it from a place of needing it to do it to prove it to anyone.
Yeah.
Do it to prove it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because every time that you stretch that muscle, I have surprised myself in ways, Meg, that I'm like, what is happening right now? And we have the conversation, and my kids and I will have the conversation, or even with George and I will have the conversation, and they'll be like, what just happened? How did this happen? It's not anything magical, but listen, I'm open to what God had in store for me.
I love that.
I'm open to his plan for me, and I'm not resisting. I'm not trying to control everything, because I used to try to control it. So I think this is just one of those things. And the reason that I love this so much is because it's opening a window to someone who was like you or is like you and thinks they can't do it.
Oh.
And now it's like, and I tell people, listen, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because right. So I think it's just that and the take pictures, it's that invitation to what's possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most important things we'll do.
So I want, so, even in the whole author world, and you are an author as well of your wonderful book. It's the why. How is it? The why is the way. The why is the way.
Yeah.
And we have Leslie here, and I want to point out, it's when you're first doing something, it's kind of like a forest, right? The trees are all like, it's dense and you can't really see the other side, but that's the way. So you take your hatchet and you start knocking things down. Obviously, climate sound, but you're walking through. You set the path, and then you can come back to the beginning together and take others with you, having learned so much by virtue of the lessons. Don't cut that way; you're going to cut yourself badly. But the reality is, you end up, at the beginning again, knowing it, a different way. However, having so much that like enlightens you that you're ready to do it again. And then people watched you do it and they're like coming along for the ride. And then you take pictures with others, which is really kind of exciting too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going alone to Kenya. You're going with a group of people, but
and we come. Yeah. And my mission is to take as many people as I can to experience mission tripping for the first time, because it's a life-changing thing.
And that's why, you are an adventurer. You do say, like, it's so funny because everybody has their thing. Like maybe something that I do is like seen as like, oh my God, I would never do that. That is like insane. Why would she do that? But I mean, and obviously jumping out of a plane is certainly not on the top 100 of my list, not even on the 200 at this point. But the reality is do I get to enjoy it through you? Yes, I do. I get to and I celebrate you as well. So I want to go back to this one. This is really cool. We are taught you must blame your father, your sisters, your brothers, the school, the teachers, but never blame yourself. It's never your fault, but it's always your fault. Because if you wanted to change, you're the one who has got to change. Katherine Hepburn. And that is why I love this, and I love it for the theme today. And that's why I put it in there. It's like there's always hope for positive change because you really have the reins of your life. So tell me what this means to you.
And that's what we don't know. First of all, I'm a giant Katherine Hepburn fan. I have read everything written about her, everything that she wrote about herself, and she is full of wisdom, this woman. I mean, there's just so much there to her. If anybody hasn't ever read on her, just pick up any one of a number of biographies. She's pretty remarkable. But what I love, Meg, is that people hide behind that victimhood. And they're always blaming. Nobody's taking. The minute that you take ownership for everything that is happening to you, everything changes because now you can do something about it.
Yeah.
When you're subject to, woe is me, what happened here, and oh my God, I mean, I could say I grew up without a father. We didn't have money growing up, and I wasn't hand me downs until my cousin stopped outgrowing her clothes. I mean, I could pinpoint all those little things to have a woe is me attitude.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, Meg. There's a picture, and it's the picture of the author in the back of the Why Is the Way, and it's me in a little sailor suit when I was 5 years old. It was taken at JM Fields, and one of the benefits of having a father who was in Cuba was that my mom took a lot of pictures because that's how we communicated.
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking at this picture of myself, and I realized, and at the time I was doing a rebirthing thing with a bunch of friends, and we were getting into that last week. I was really, really tense and wanted to find my core. What was my core? I had just watched Guardians of the Galaxy. No, Rise of the Guardians,
Oh.
and there's a scene there where Santa's asking Jack Frost. It's a
Oh,
really
yeah, yeah.
great scene. So I'm trying to find my core, and I go back to that little picture, and I see this 5-year-old girl who had no
Wow.
reason to smile. My poor mom was working like a maniac. She was suffering because my father wasn't here. Where I'm just sort of either in the way or sort of like a nuisance, even though my mom didn't treat me like that. It was something different, but I had this smile on me, like with this optimism, like everything was perfect in my life. And it just I had every reason to believe that it wasn't. Like, I remember when I turned 5, I'm blowing out the candles of one of the few birthday cakes that I got, right? And I remember I wanted a pony. I've always loved horses, and I wanted a pony. And I said, man, but I should really wish that my father comes so my mom can stop crying.
Oh,
I
wow.
was 5 years old.
Wow.
Like, that should not have been a thought. But still, that little girl was smiling like the world was the best place in the world ever to exist. And
I love that.
so I think that why this resonates with me is because as long as we take ownership, we're not subject to, we're not victims, we're not beholden to what's happening around us.
It's so incredibly empowering. Like we were talking about empower through your purpose, but even think about it. You like that's what the whole Viktor Frankl was saying. He was in a concentration camp and they said they can never have power over your mind. You're the one
Yeah.
who ultimately gets to say of how you see the world. It may be horrifying and trauma inducing and all of the above, but if you truly believe that they're not going to get you down, like you're going to make it through, you will
Yeah.
persevere. And and that's in the most extreme circumstances. Obviously there's fallout from that, but to get yourself to the other side, you see how strong you
Mhm.
are and you see that. But once you take the reins back, like you were saying, like you're like this little child. And I love that you're saying that, because I mean some people have really bad childhoods, like they remember it that way, and
Mhm.
others there's got to be like one picture that you remember seeing yourself and you're just like, oh my God, look at that kid. I want her to play with me now. Like even as a 50-year-old plus, I'm
Yes.
53.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to bring her out to play because guess what? I know now I have the choices and I can do what I want and I can do the changes that I want. I find that just so incredible. And at the end of the day, you telling the stories, you doing the thing, you doing whatever it is that comes to mind, going to Kenya, going to South Africa, going to Italy, going to France, wherever the heck you want to go,
Mhm.
but feel free to be on your own adventure here in this world, whatever calls to you. Like we're talking about the beginning, what is
Mhm.
calling to you? What is
Yeah.
calling to you? And I heard something really fascinating the other day. Don't pursue a profession, let it find you as you are
Yes.
doing those things that make you come
Yes.
alive. And I was just like, oh my God, I have to like,
Yeah.
I'm like all over the place right now. Like I'm like, me, I like build the mountain and then the mountain and then I got like a squirrel,
Yes.
where am I going to go first? But the reality is that just like tricked me into like, oh my God, just keep doing what I really love, talking to people like you, being with people like Leslie Rasmussen, talking to authors, reading their books, doing these shows, and then that will find me. And I
Yeah.
love that. I just feel
Yeah.
like that's like the most empowering thing you can say. And so I'm not imitating anybody else. It just shows up
Yeah.
as me. So one of the things I love about the show is and I think that you can certainly speak to it because it seems to me that your life has become a dream come true. you're talking about your childhood, your mom is a single mom here, and she had to struggle, and she went through the ups and downs and all arounds, right?
Mhm.
And you, like I said, your grandmother, she would have loved to probably do what you're doing right now. So maybe it's the dream of others coming true through you as well. So
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about how you see it, like how you see the unfolding of your life, of your story.
Some days I can't believe it, Meg.
Hmm.
Right? And I remember I went when I started taking pilot lessons. There was a fly-in somewhere in Lakeland, Florida, and I go. I remember Chloe was a wee little thing. I think she was 2 years old or something, and she's in the stroller. And we went over there, and I just wanted to spend the weekend around planes and people talking about planes. And I go up to this. There was this guy selling his Bonanza, right? And he's sitting in a lawn chair right in front of his, and it was open so you could go in and look around. And I just walked up to him and I said, "How are you?" And he said, "Living the dream."
Ah, I love it.
And I said, "Man, I want one day for my life to be in such a place that that's how I can answer when people
Ah,
ask
I
me
love
who I am."
that. I love it.
And I cannot tell you how many times in the last, especially in the last year and a half, people will ask me that. And it's like a knee jerk trigger that I just say living the dream, right? Um,
I
and
have to
it's
say that to that point, though, even if you say it, living the dream, it makes you feel good. It's like,
yes,
even
yes,
if it's not necessarily the perfect dream, but a part of your dream,
yeah,
you're still
yeah,
living that part of your dream that you knew. Like, I remember, and I'll just add this, like, I remember sitting in the office that I used to have on a corner office, looking out into the world, seeing the boats pass by and wishing I could be there and not where I was. And
yeah.
now I'm like, I'm like looking for a whole other perspective. But like, I think I sat there on a funicular up to the top of Cuomo, like looking over, and there was a lighthouse up there. And I just think, oh my God, pinch me, right? Like, this is happening. And back to your point that, even if I have gone through the ups and downs of life, I can say when I'm great, like I'm conscious and I'm aware and all of the above, living the dream. I love that. So tell me a little bit more about, some of your favorite highlights of this living the dream as it unfolds.
I think one of the most real things for me came when I was in Kenya, one of the last trips to Kenya, and I had to stop in the middle of the day and do a coaching session.
Oh,
And the people that were around me were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I just have a session. I'll be back." And I went and I did my session, and my client is like, "Where are you?" And I said, "No, I'm in Kenya for the next 2 weeks, remember?" He said, "Oh my God, but I can't believe we didn't reschedule." And I said, "Why?" And I think that's one of the highlights. I've done coaching sessions from cruise ships. I mean, I can do it from anywhere. Speaking on some
wow.
stages that I
Yeah.
never thought I would speak in front of audiences that I never thought I would speak in front of, and being able to, you know, call my daughter and say, "Hey, listen, Chloe's missing these 6 states in New England. When can we go?" And she says, "Well, when can you go?" I said, "I can go whenever." And we just 2 days later were in the car and we took a road trip and we were up there for 5 days, and it was just like freedom, right?
Yeah.
Still working, but that freedom, that being able to create that freedom of a lifestyle where you're calling the shots,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Totally knowing that it was that to God be the glory, and that it's kind of magical that happens, but that kind of feels surreal still sometimes.
Well, and also, the reality is that back to your magical manifesting mad skills, I mean, you had the ability to make the phone call to your daughter and to her daughter, and let's do this. So and it's because of the life that you have created for yourself. And I think that, a lot of people say, well, I can't do that. I can't, because I have responsibilities, and I can't do that because of this, that, and the other. And I'm not saying like everybody, this is right for everybody, but the freedom component certainly is something that we both align to, is that whole idea that, I don't have to ask for permission from somebody and maintain and still and still hold my responsibilities
Right.
true,
Right.
and I think that's really a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so this is like a fun part because I love to engage the extraordinary person. I like to say everybody's extraordinary, and they are, the extra, they put the extra in the ordinary, right? No one really is ordinary in my estimation. So right now, as we sit here on this date, as we are transforming our dreams into reality, what is the thing that you can share that will move you forward or help, maybe advice for others to move them forward as well on this dreamer's journey?
I think I would say don't be afraid to dream,
Mm,
right? We're sort of programmed to keep things at bay and to be
mm,
normal and to be realistic, and that's all bullshit. You have to unleash the power of dreams. You have to be able to do it, reconnect with that inner child and whatever it was that you wanted to do. And the more impossible, the better, because that's how God proves to you that He
mm.
wants this for you, right? So
So
I say just dream unapologetically as big as you possibly can. And yes, you have to do the work, but you got to dream it first. If not, you don't know what the work is going to be.
that's amazing. And back to the tools or perhaps best practices that have worked for you to get you where you've been your whole life. Because I think that, I love it. I like when people like light it, like, oh, this. And I go, oh, I never thought about that. So
Mhm.
what's something that you can share with everyone that will help them perhaps, start to recognize their dreams perhaps, or, start to manifest this freedom that you seem to be experiencing.
Yeah, I think you do it scared, right? Because I think initially it's always scary. It's new. It's something probably never been ventured by anyone in your family,
Yeah.
right? So I say do it scared, and don't worry about what other people think.
Yeah.
It is not your job to worry about what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if they can't see it, that's none of your business.
Everybody has an opinion anyway. It's like so many, it like it's so loud, the
Yes.
noise, forget it. Forget it. Yeah.
Let them knock themselves out. It's just not going to affect you. If I listen to everybody who laughed at me and said, what are you thinking and how are you going to leave and what are you going to, I would have still been, God even knows where. I don't even know, you know.
So what's your number? What was your intention today? What was it?
13.
13. Okay. And what was your intention?
My intention was to have an amazing time with Meg, which I knew I was going to.
Well, I
Um,
mean, this is just an excuse to have an interview with each other because we love the conversations. And if I ever can get you, like, staying still for a moment, I always get lucky. So anyway, yes, I'm with you on that. And do you want to know what 13 is? Do you have the
I do it, Megan, and I want to say that I'm super with as excited as I am to go to Kenya. I'm super bummed that I'm not going to be at your book launch on
Ah,
May 5th. I will be there with you in spirit, and I
oh,
know I'm going to
definitely.
call you that day from Kenya. But I just wanted to share this space with you. So thank you again for having me.
Well, I do say, one of the things I do love, and this is something that I particularly find just empowering, since this is purpose, right? Every person that you meet that leaves an impact in their lives, that you like literally has you look standing up and saying, God, thank God I met you. Thank
Mhm.
God I met you. That comes with me wherever I go. So they always know. Oprah said a long time ago, when I'm speaking, I stand with all of the ghosts of the past, all the angels
Mhm.
amongst us. In every room you show up in, every person who's impacted you positively or negatively, for that matter, they're there with you. And
Yep.
you hold the torch perhaps for someone else to grab on to their light. So I say, wherever I go, Berta, you are there with me, my friend, for
I love
sure.
it.
As is Leslie and
Yeah.
everyone else who joins me here that's left a impact of love, back to your point,
Mhm.
with that love, beginning basis of love in my life, and I am very grateful for that.
Mhm.
So go ahead. What is your do you want me to read, or do you want to read it?
Yes, I want you to read it, please.
Okay, so 13 is be bold, and the quote is, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And that's Goethe. And I'm going to read just one little part from it because I think this is clearly you anyway. So, you may be able to almost see the fruits of your labor. Who would give up now? You know, who would give up now? So if you find yourself like literally in the midst of it and you can't see the whole of it, never give up. it's always going to be right around the corner. Just hold on, and we all get to celebrate you, and then, I think this is even more beautiful, is the magical key to bliss is set out to make one new connection today. And in that respect, I came from the World Happiness Conference, and it was all about connections and all about the people that you get to meet. And, some people had been on this conference before and I never met them. So this time I did. So, it's always timing and always who, and always matching with your why and the alignment factor, which I love. So let me bring you to the wonderful final inspiration that goes to Berta today, because I know with all of this creative stuff going on in your life, certainly you're going to be going to Kenya soon. We all, support you in that. What is your final inspiration for today?
That's a tough one, Meg, because there are so many things I want to say. Um, just be good to yourself.
Mm.
I had to learn that the hard way, but just be good to yourself. All that grace that you've been extending to everyone in your life forever, and keeping
Yeah.
it from yourself, it's time to receive it from yourself. So I say, be overly gracious, love yourself, and forgive yourself, and just know that you're amazing. But stop beating yourself up.
And it's interesting. I love that you say that, because it goes along with, be impeccable with your words, be that with yourself. And I love that you're saying be good to yourself. It's a really important reminder for us all as we navigate this world in all the different showings. So I'm going to put up my book, Magical Guide to Bliss, and I'm going to say be bold to all of you. And I'm also going to put in the stream Berta's final message for us. She is passion and she believes in discipline, and it does lead to unstoppability. If you have any interest in talking to her, which I would imagine we all do at this point, because literally I can't get enough, but go to www.berta, Berta Medina, Medina.com. You can find her there, follow her. Follow her on all sorts of social media for sure. See where she's gone, where she's going, be a part of her adventure, which I think is always fun, because I always will sign up for a Berta adventure any day of the week. So thank you again to Berta. I want to ask you, what is next for you? What other than Kenya? What are we doing? Are we conquering?
Kenya is May, and then Alaska. I'm gonna go with Chloe and Jocelyn to check off Chloe's 50th state.
Oh, that's
She
exciting.
will be done with the whole map, and then back to South Africa in November.
I do
So
want to remind everybody that Chloe is how old?
she's 11. She's 11.
She's 11 years old, and she will have seen all 50 states when
Yeah,
she goes
yeah.
to Alaska, which is definitely what you were speaking to before, that
Mhm.
wonderful legacy you're leaving of adventure and certainly unstoppability for sure. Berta, I can't say thank you enough. There is hope for positive change. And I know with this interview and all of us remembering to be good to ourselves, we can certainly move forward into that realm, reminding ourselves that we're worthy for sure. And that, we get to connect with people like that on our path, like Berta, like Leslie, like all of you. It's a blessing. It's a grace. And I get to be grateful for that. So thank you again for joining me today. I love you to death. You know
Love
that.
you too. Love you too, Mama. Have fun.
So remember that we're all here to be deliberate creators of our lives. Dream big, get inspired, and get ready to manifest your dreams. Wishing you all bliss and lots of love, of course. Have a great one. Bye, everybody.
Bye.